In a world where people are losing their minds, who will be the voice of sanity, of logic, of rationale, of morality and truth? This podcast is looking for like-minded people to stand up to the insane and be real. The Recovery Atheist podcast is calling you to step forward and be counted. Welcome to the voice of change. Welcome to the Recovery Atheist podcast.
Well, hello everybody out there in Podcast Nation. This is the Recovery Atheist coming to you from the Trey Entertainment Studios. Glad to be back. My first episode back since my surgery. Decided that this would be a good time to get on and do another episode and just check in with my fans, my audience, my family, everybody out there, and let you know how I'm doing. Okay, so first off, I just want to say that I am so happy that you've been able to join me tonight. I'm getting through this whole hernia surgery thing wonderfully. It's been a very good transition. Had the surgery done Wednesday morning. Took about 2 hours for them to do it. I was out within an hour after being done with the surgery and came home. Pretty much the last few days I've been off work, using some vacation time to heal up. And so far, so good. So far it has been a very smooth few days. The pain the first couple days were definitely a little bit more extreme. Was having a hard time being able to get sleep because of it. But like I said, things are going better now. Last night I took some melatonin for sleep and took some Tylenol, extra strength, and went to bed, and I slept for 14 hours. I was lucky to get a few hours, sleep the nights before, 3-4 hours, because of the pain. Couldn't seem to get comfortable. The cut for the surgery was down in the groin area, so if I slept on my side, gravity would pull down on it. If I slept on my stomach, gravity would pull down on it. So pretty much the only way I could do it was to sleep on my back, and I don't sleep on my back very well. It's just not a position I sleep in. Unless I'm drunk and I pass out, that is not a position that I normally sleep in. So it's been kind of a struggle. But last night I was able finally to sleep on my side, a little bit on my stomach, and I was out for 14 hours, so I feel refreshed. I feel back on top, getting some laundry done, just getting caught up on some things. Wanted to get another podcast in. I'll do one tomorrow probably as well, just to get a couple in before I'm back to work on Monday. But pretty much what I'm doing now is just getting myself lined up to go back into work on Monday morning and be back to life again. And I'm happy to do that, I'll be honest with you. Now that I've been home the last few days, I really am looking forward to going back to work. I do enjoy my job. I do enjoy the people I work with. And I do enjoy just being able to get out of the house and feel like I'm a part of life and society. I do not want to be sitting at home with nothing to do all the time. So, that being said, I'm doing well. Things are going great. Thank you to everybody out there who supported me through this situation. The guys here at the house who were very supportive of me. I would like to also give a shout out to Isaac, for my sponsor, for picking me up from the hospital and bringing me home after the surgery. And then the biggest one would be a shout out to Ian, the house manager, my brother, a good friend of mine here at the house, for helping me get through this situation as smoothly as possible. And it has been a wonderful experience. So I thank you again. I thank Great Lakes Sober Living for allowing me to have a place to be, to get through this, and being understanding of the situation I was in. So, I'll also say this, just to kind of throw it out there. Everyone knows me as the Recovery Atheist, and that's what I am. I am an atheist. I do not believe that there is a God. If you want to ask me if there is a God, I would tell you I don't know, because there's no proof to say that there is one. But the atheists out there that say they can prove there is no God, they can't do that either. So I would say that I don't know, but from my experience, I would say that I don't agree that there is one. That being said, I feel it would be wrong of me and very egotistical to sit there and not thank the people out there that sent their best wishes and said that they were praying for me through this situation to get me through and get me through the surgery and get me through the pain and to be safe. So I thank you for your thoughts, for your concerns, and your well wishes. Thank you so much. All right, pleasantries are over with. All right, so the ultimate goal of what I wanted to do for this podcast, and I've been thinking about it for the last 2 weeks and how to go into it and what to say. And that is dealing with step 4. At this time, I have gotten through working the steps with my sponsor. I am in the maintenance steps now. I'm passing it on to a sponsee now. So I'm a sponsor now. So I'm in a position to where I want to be able to talk about step 4. Step 4 can be a real difficult step for people. And I know this from my own experiences. For me, it could be a really, really, really difficult situation. I'm at the point now in my life, though, that I am tired of overanalyzing and overthinking every little thing that's out there. It has gotten me in trouble. It causes me to completely be blinded by it and not see the right choices I need to make. So a few weeks ago, I had a guy that's here in the house who, when he first moved into the house, was a lot like me. Didn't want to deal with getting a sponsor, really didn't want to work the steps, really didn't want to be a part of AA or be a part of that concept, and just had a hard time seeing it. And I could see that from my point of view, my perspective, looking at him, that he was doing a lot of the same things I was doing back in the day, and I was just overanalyzing it and overthinking it and just not being accepting of the situation. In the house that we live in here, it is a requirement that if you are going to be a part of this house, that you have to have a 12-step group involved, AA, NA, and you have to have a sponsor, and you have to be working the steps. It is required to be able to live in the home. So when I first moved in, as I said, I struggled with that. I would argue with Brian on it, the house owner, and tell him I was an atheist. I didn't want all that God crap and this and that. But as time went on, and talking with Brian and talking with Isaac, who is my sponsor now, he was the house manager here at the time, that we came to an agreement. We came to a compromise, which I hate using that word, but we came to a compromise that we're going to just take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and see what adjustments we need to make to allow me to be able to do the steps and be able to be here in the house and be a good housemate here at the house. So that's exactly what I did. I started working. I asked Isaac to be my sponsor, and we started working. And he pretty much had told me, just relax. We'll take it one day at a time, one step at a time, and we'll see where we go with it, and we'll adjust it according to what you feel is something that you need in your life that still meets the requirements of the house and what AA is about. And so that's what we did. So obviously I was able to find my way to do that. I was able to find my way to get freedom, to be able to be released from the chains that I was in and the obsession and the spiritual malady, as they say in the book, and have a psychic change to get me to where I'm at without God being the higher power. So thank you, Isaac, and thank you, Brian, for understanding my needs in recovery to allow me to be able to do that. So back to what I was talking about. So I have a guy here in the house that was really struggling with that. So I brought him into my room and sat him down, and we just had a little discussion about it because he had mentioned a few things in our house meeting about how he was struggling with it. So I wanted to make sure that, I had a conversation with him and we could kind of figure this out together, and see if maybe I could, get through to him about it and be able to see if he could maybe wrap his brain around some of it to at least get started with it. So he ended up getting a sponsor. I'm excited to say he's my sponsor, my sponsee brother. Isaac is his sponsor. So right away I knew that's a good thing. That is exactly perfect. Because I knew Isaac would be able to work with him and be flexible and be able to do what was needed for this person to get the help that he needs. So I pretty much told him, I'm like, well, I asked him, I said, what is some of your issues or concerns with this? What are you struggling to get your mind around? And step 4 is a big one. Step 1, 2, and 3. Step 1 is easy, I think, for most of us. Some of people out there will say in recovery that they have a hard time saying powerless and all that because it makes them sound weak. It was real easy for me personally to be able to see that when I am drinking, I am powerless. I don't have any control over the things that are happening. When I got my DWI, I had no power to tell the cops, no, you're not going to arrest me and take me to jail. I'm not going to lose my license. Nope, you're not going to do that to me. I had no power in that, okay? I'd lost my power from the drinking. And definitely my life had become unmanageable. There was no way to argue with that. How could I honestly, as a intelligent individual, look at that with logic and reason and say that my life was manageable? It wasn't. And I still struggle with it today. In recovery and being sober, there's times that your life still becomes unmanageable, and you've got to learn how to be able to do that. 2 and 3 for him, I could easily get him through 2 and 3, because 2 and 3, dealing with a higher power, being able to tell him that there's many things in our lives that are higher powers to us, and it doesn't have to always be a God or a spirituality. I mean, there's lots, like for me, science is a higher power. I have no control over science. I have no control over physics, gravity, any of that, or what's going to happen in it. So guess what? It definitely has more power than I have. And then if you want to break it down to even simpler terms, the judge who's over my DWI case, which I put the plea bargain in, sent that in a couple weeks ago. I finally got my my actual sentencing court date and everything in January, to where I'll do it on Zoom, to where they'll take the plea agreement that I accepted, and they'll put it into place, and it'll be said and done, and I'll be on my 2 years probation and pay my fine, and life goes on. But they're in charge. The judge is in charge. I have no control over what that judge decides he or she is going to do. So it was real easy for me to get that concept through to him that there's many other powers out there that have more power than we have. And so stop putting it that God is, stop letting the word God stop you from getting the help that you need. You can get beyond that. I think you're an intelligent, and he is. He's a very intelligent individual. I said, I think you're intelligent enough to be able to move beyond that and see that it's just a word. You're giving too much power to it. So then you go into step 4, and this is what my podcast tonight is going to be about. Step 4 has a stigma about it. And I get why some of it is there. It is it can be such a vulnerable step for people. You're getting out your resentments, you're getting out your skeletons in your closet, your fears, your sex inventory, all of that, and you're telling somebody else about these things that you have in your inventory. I get how that can be daunting. I get how that can be intimidating. I get how, as an addict or an alcoholic, we struggle in trusting people. Hell, half the time I couldn't even trust myself. So I get that completely. But you got to start somewhere. So for me, I've struggled with it. I've had people in the past that I have told my 4-step to that have said some things to people and told people things out of my 4-step that I felt violated. And so for me, it was like, okay, this is going to be difficult because you're wanting me to tell, again, another stranger. Now, with Isaac, my sponsor, I had gotten to know him pretty well, and by the time we got into the 4-step, I'd already gotten to know him for about 3 months, and we were living in the same house. So that definitely was a help to me, that I got to know him. I got to spend time with him. And I from his discussions about sobriety and recovery with me, we both were on the same ledge when we were using. We were both in the same issues, except his was a different substance. We both were dealing with a lot of the same issues, so I could relate to him. So, when it comes to a 4-step, yes, you got 3 parts to it. You got your resentments, you got your fear inventory, and you got your sex inventory. Now, with the resentments, that is just writing down on a piece of paper all the resentments you have toward people, and also things that you've done to those people that were not good throughout your life. So I'll give some examples. My ex-wives, I've got plenty of resentments toward a few of the ex-wives. I've got 3 of them. I know that sounds horrible, but it's just the truth. I am not fake. I am authentic. I am real, and that's the truth. I've had issues with relationships, especially when I'm using. If you look at all 3 relationships, all of them, at some point or another, booze and drugs was involved, and it went downhill because of it. So I really, truly don't feel I've had a healthy relationship because of it. But I still have resentments against them for abandonment issues, cheating on me, lying to me, stealing from me, whatever it is. Now, I could sit in that resentment and hold on to that and hold on to that, hold on to it. What step 4 for me did is it allowed me to see where I played my role in that relationship. When I started looking at that relationship, I started realizing, holy shit, I've done a lot of the same things back to them that they were doing to me. I played a role in this just as much as what they did. Why am I having a resentment against them when I did the same thing against them? Okay, it takes 2 to tango. You cannot live life and have relationships with people and think it's one-sided. It goes both ways. And so when you look at the resentment part of the 4th step, that's exactly what it is. What was your role in all of this? What did you do that was wrong? And that's how these 4 steps get done. So you write the resentments down. I love how Russell Brand talks about it in his recovery book, which I suggest that you read. It is a very good eye-opener to the 12 steps and how to look at it from a different perspective. He talks about how he even had a resentment against someone back when he was in 4th grade, some kid who got kudos for something and he didn't. As insignificant as that resentment is, if you remember it, write it down. Okay. So again, now it comes back to the idea, and we get this argument all the time. How long should a 4-step take? I honestly don't think there's any outline to that. I think it really depends on the person, and I think it also depends on how authentic and real you are in writing it down. That being said, that doesn't mean you take a year to do a 4-step. Hell, even Russell Brand in his book, I kind of wanted to scold him on it because it took him like 4 years before he finally did a 4-step. Come on, Russell. Come on. It doesn't take that long. In fact, what it says in the big book, if you're a follower of the big book, it says to go after recovery and everything that you do with the desperation of a drowning man. Well, you don't take 4 years if you're drowning to get out of the water and try to save your life. This is something that you should want to do, get through it, and get free. Doesn't mean I expect you to do it in a day. You don't have to be like Bill W. Bill W. got the entire steps done in like 9 days. All of them. 9 days. Now, I'm not saying that's the way to go. I'm just saying have a little bit of urgency with what you're trying to do in recovery. Do you want to be free, or do you want to continue to sit on this stuff and be diseased? So, this is how I look at the first part of the 4-step, dealing with the resentments. Write down what you can remember. Write down what you can write down as resentments, what you can be working on. You don't have to remember everything. Start off with that, maybe 15 to 30 minutes a day, just writing down some things you might remember, dwell on it a little bit, think about other resentments you have, and write it down. If you get to the point where you can't write anything more down, just move on. You can always do another 4-step later on in recovery to get rid of any other resentments you have from the past later on down the road. And the thing is with a step 4, is you're going to get resentments in the future. Just because you're doing a step 4 doesn't mean that you're not going to still get other resentments. You're going to have other resentments in life to where you're going to have to look at it and possibly do a step 4 in the beginning to be able to get through that. Future resentments, in my opinion, lead to future relapses. They can future, issues of problems in our lives is what resentments do. And I think we need to be able to vocalize that and get them out and move on and learn from them. So write down what you can remember over, a couple weeks, maybe a month, and try to figure out what you need to do with that, and then move on. Now, the next one would be your fear inventory. Now, I had a person recently as well in the house ask me about their fear inventory. They didn't know exactly what was really going to be looked at and what was expected. It's just your fears. What do you fear in life? So, again, me being authentic and being real and vulnerable on my podcast, my fears are a lot. Fear of the unknown. Fear of success, fear of failure. So did you hear that? I have both the fear of success, I have both the fear of failure. That is fucked up, because it's like no matter what I do, I can't win. So if I get success, I'm always expecting the other shoe to drop and something to go wrong and I lose it. If I have failure, then, the fear of failure, then it's like I'll never be successful. So I'm screwed either way. This is something I deal with on a daily basis that I have to fight. And I'm getting better with it over time. Fear of abandonment. How many of you out there have that? I've had a few relationships where the woman in the relationship has left me without really me seeing it happening. I didn't see it ahead of time. And yeah, it fucking hurt. It really did. It fucked me up. And these are things I deal with today that I still have to work on. I mean, I'm afraid of people leaving me. I think it's a very common fear amongst people. And it all comes back into having trust issues. And I definitely have a few of those. But you get through it. You move on. But what you're doing is you're labeling all these fears so you can see what fears you are dealing with every day, so you can acknowledge them, and when they come through in your life day to day, you can look at them and say, is this logical? Is this should I really be feeling the fear that I'm feeling right now, or is this my emotions in this situation getting the best of me? Is there enough evidence here for me to be fearful of this in this situation, or is it just from past experiences haunting me to make me feel this way? That's it. That's all the fear inventory is. It's not hard. We make it harder than what it is. The next one, sex inventory. People who know me as a very open person. It's just the truth of it. I am a very open person. When it comes to my sexuality, I'm a very open person now. I'm pansexual. I used to be a swinger for 2 years with a fiance of mine. I don't always believe in the sanctity of marriage at all times. I think it's real hard. I think as human beings, we're out to procreate, and so I believe that there's many loves and many women and men in my life that I've been around, that it's hard to just see me being with just one person, even though I kind of want that, but at the same time, is it really scientifically right? So I've had ideas of living poly, living in a poly lifestyle. So I'm very open, very progressive when it comes to sexuality and the way people live their lives. I have no judgment. Outside of you being a pedophile, that is not a right way of love. That is not correct. They are not in any way, form, shape, or form able to understand what sexuality is in the first place. And I struggle with this when it comes to parents who have kids that are having issues with whether or not they are, sexuality issues, boy or a girl, and they want to dress up as this or as that. I guess, I understand that everyone should be free to make up their own mind, but at the same time, is a 7-year-old really emotionally, psychologically, are they mentally mature enough to be able to make that decision? Or are they just going off what their parents are doing for them? Again, it's a very slippery slope from that to how religion is based onto children. We need to be very careful. Did I know I was pansexual or gay when I was younger? Yes. I didn't know necessarily what to call it, but I knew from a very young age, probably around 10, 11 years old, that there was something different about me compared to the other boys that I was around. But I wasn't mature enough to necessarily understand what it was or how to put a label to it. And that's what they're doing now. A lot of parents with their children who are it's a boy dressing up as a girl or a girl as a boy, they are putting it on them like, they know what they're doing. A 7-year-old, I'm sorry, in that situation, or a 10-year-old is not going to understand it. The same as someone who is in their late teen years deciding to live that way of lifestyle. And so I think it's wrong for parents, whether it be through that or be through religion, to be pushing that upon their kids as a way of living until they are fully developed mentally enough to be able to make that decision. Just my opinion. You can go off on me all you want about it, but I have the right to my opinion. I do not think it is something that needs to be promoted. I don't. And just so you know, all you people out there that want to attack me on that, I am part of the LGBTQ community, so you can fucking cram it. I have the right to my opinion. And I don't agree with you. It's fucking kids up. Do you really want to have fucked up kids? You're looking at one. Do you really want to have fucked up kids coming out half and a half therapy like I have to have? Stop putting things on your child just because of a certain belief that you have. Back the fuck up. That goes for your religion, that goes for politics, that goes for sexuality. Back the fuck up and let your kid just be a kid. And if you can't understand that, then you're an ignorant motherfucker that I don't want to have anything to do with. There, got my fucking rant out for the week.
Where do you think you're going?
Sex inventory shouldn't be something that's hard for you to be able to get through. Just write down the things that you've done. Just write down some of the issues that you've had with it. You don't have to go into every fucking detail to be able to do this step. You get through that, you write it down, you're rolling it, all of that, how it was, what did it do to you, how did it take away from you, how did you take away from them in a negative way, blah, 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 you move on. So you got your 3 things done for your 4th step. Now, you let your sponsor take a look at it, let them see it. Let them see that, okay, yep, you've done the work. This looks good. Let's go ahead and let's sit down and let's do a 5th step and let's talk about it. Let's get it out and let's get free. That's it. That's all it is. And then you fucking move on. And you're free. You've let it go. That's not difficult. You're making more out of it than what it is. Move on. Stop living in the past. Once you get through that, you move on. The 4th step that I did with Isaac, I don't think about that shit anymore. It's done. I move on. If anything, if I need a 4th step, it's going to be new stuff that I need to add on it that I have to deal with. That other stuff that's happened in the past, I don't give a shit anymore about. Fuck it, it's done. I can't go back to any of those relationships. I can't go back to any of those decisions I've made. So why the fuck am I letting it do anything for me now? Why am I giving power to it? That is what the step 4 is for. To take its power away from you. To take that power and the position that you're in to want to dwell on it, you're now taking that power that it's had over you and you're passing it on to another person, getting it out and into the open to where it doesn't have power anymore. You're no longer holding it inside and hiding. All that resentment and pain that you have, now somebody else knows who can relate, because I can guarantee you as they're listening to your story about this, they're going to be like, hell yeah, I understand that, been there, done that. But you no longer have to let it control you. You move on. Don't be afraid of the 4-step. It is a blessing. I know this from my own experience. I'm not sitting here saying it just to be saying it. No, I know. I've done multiple 4-steps. Now, this 4-step that I've done has been the most freeing. I will say that because of the way I decided to look at it this time. I simplified it. And I've been able to move on to where I'm not controlled anymore by those resentments. Don't you want that? Don't you want to be free of those resentments, of that pain that you deal with day in and day out, and just realize that shit is in the past and there's not a goddamn thing that you can do about it? Just move forward. It happened. Suck it up, buttercup. Move forward. And don't make those same mistakes again. It's as easy as that. Everybody has made mistakes. Everybody has things in the past that they regret. Everybody has resentments. Why are we letting it make us sick? We don't have to do that anymore. We're in recovery to be a different person. We're in recovery to live life a different way and to learn how to live life in a different way. Well, if you're holding on to that stuff, you'll be right back to where you were before. And that's the honest truth. I don't deal with absolutes very often because I don't believe that they're factual. But the truth is, if you don't deal with this, if you don't deal with those resentments and those issues and those fears and all of that, you will be back to where you were before. And I can say that because I've done it. You are not alone in this. Get working on it. Stop hesitating. Stop procrastinating. Stop feeling like you're special or unique from everybody else, that people are not, whoever you're telling your 4-step to, they're not going to understand me because I'm unique and special. No, you are fucking not. Don't let your ego kill you. Because that's what it'll do. If you think you're special and unique in recovery, you're fucking not. Get over yourself. Get real. Because if you can't get honest and real with yourself, then I really feel sorry for you, for one, and I'm really concerned about you. Be honest. What got you here? What are you willing to do? So that's my little speech when it comes to the 4-step. It is something that can be accomplished. It is something that you can do and can achieve and can have success and can have freedom. You have to do the work, though. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself, and you have to want to do it. You have to be motivated to do it, and you have to feel like you deserve to have that freedom. So go out and fucking get it. What's stopping you? You're telling me that the things that have happened in the past, you want to go back to that? Come on. Stop. Stop living in a lie. All right. Last thing I want to touch base on is got some exciting news. We got some exciting things that are going to be coming up over the next few months here at the Recovery Atheist podcast, at the Wagon podcast. With Isaac Wehrman, my sponsor, who also has his own podcast. Got lots of stuff going on. Aaron Butler down in St. Paul, who's also known as the Supertramp podcast. We've got a lot of things going on. So the other day I watched a video and I put it on my Facebook post, and if you need to take a look at it, it's under Del Bacon. That is my name if you look me up on Facebook. You will find me there. You can add me as a friend, message me, let me know what's going on, any topics you're interested in hearing here on my podcast. On there, I have a few posts that I posted over the last couple days, and one of them is about a documentary that is on YouTube called The Group. It's about a recovery group that was created in multiple states, but mainly based out of St. Louis. And it, some of their concepts were good that I liked about the steps and things like that. But as time went on within this group, it turned into a cult. And it was bad. It turned off bad. So I got to thinking about it. Back in 2018, I was part of a Bible boot camp for addicts. It's based out of Batesville, Arkansas. It's all Christian based. You live out in the middle of nowhere in this camp farm kind of thing. You're not allowed to have phone or have outside contact. You're not allowed to leave the facility. You are under their authority. You do not get to have any independence at all, and I'll get more into that. You are not able to have outrageous hairstyles, no dyeing of hair. Your beard has to be conformed. In fact, if they had it their way, you wouldn't have one at all. Your speech has to be a certain way. You cannot disagree with any of the staff. If you do, you will be punished for it. You cannot have your own independent thinking. You are a robot, and you have to do it the way they are, the way they believe. And you are also worked as a slave. You do not get paid. You are given a place to sleep, a room that's your own to be able to live, and things of that nature. And they feed you, but outside of that, you are expected to work. You work all day, every day. The only day you do not is on Sunday, which half the day is taken up with church in the morning on Sunday into the afternoon, and then you have off in the afternoon that day to spend time with family, visitation. You eat, and then Bible study in the evening. Otherwise, Monday through Saturday, you are working, and we're talking getting up, going to eat breakfast, do the morning meditation and everything with the founder, Brian Tuggle, which I will eventually get into my feelings about him. I do not agree with him whatsoever and his philosophies. I think he is a con artist. He is a religious con artist. And I will eventually prove that to you. Because I can. I lived there. It's Monday through Saturday, like I said. By 8 a.m. you're working. They assign you different positions. You could work in the kitchen. You can work... Yeah, they have an auto shop, they have a print shop, they have a store in Batesville in town that you can go out of. The print shop's also in Batesville that you can work out of, and those jobs are mainly given to ones that have earned the right to be able to leave the site to go into town and be in the real world. You're still not allowed to have your phone. You're not allowed to have any contact with the outside whatsoever. No contacts with females. No contact at all with anything but the men that are there at the facility. You go through a huge screening process to be able to get into the facility, get into the program. I had to go through it and was given the 3rd degree on it. Pretty much the reason why I went there in the first place is I was homeless, strung out, had nowhere to go. I was going to be homeless on the streets of Louisville, didn't want that, so I was trying to find a transition place, and because I had heard so much about this, and being in the belief that I had, I wanted to go there and just see what it was about. And after being there a month, a little over a month, about 5-6 weeks, I realized how much of a scam it was, and I wanted out. And now it's time for the truth to come to the surface. I went online the other day to look them up, and there is nothing No one is saying anything about this place in a negative light or anything like that. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why? So I started thinking about it, going, well, for one, they're in the middle of nowhere. Two, they're in Arkansas, one of the most conservative states you will ever see when it comes to religion in the country, in the world. Trump got voted, 2-1 for Trump over Biden in that state. They still have dry counties in Arkansas, to where I lived in Batesville, it's a dry county. You can't buy alcohol. There's no liquor stores. You have to go to a restaurant to be able to buy it. Didn't stop me, though. I got on my little scooter, my little 49cc scooter, took the back roads 20-something miles over to this county liquor store to be able to get what I wanted. Sorry, guys, your religion didn't stop me. That's how much power your religion has. That's how much power your God has. Didn't stop me. But they work you to death there. They work you to death there for their own benefit. To the point where they have a catering company out of it, to where they send guys from the place to these different catering events to do catering, and it is long hours. I mean, they're out and get back in at 3 in the morning from it, going to Little Ark, Arkansas, and other places, Memphis, other places, and then they get back at 3 in the morning, go to bed, turn around, got to be back up into doing everything at 7, 8 o'clock, and that's they're in slavery. This place is ran like a slavery unit. You are their slaves. You will do what they ask, and there's no questions. If you question it, you are punished. Sound familiar? It is a legal way of slavery. You don't get shit from them. You get fed. You get a place to sleep, but outside of that, no contact with anybody. They don't want you. They want to have you all in control by them to do what they want you to do. And what's interesting is a lot of these catering jobs that they go out there for state events and charity events and things like that, to where it's free labor for these people, including the state of Arkansas. Free labor. And the government is just like, okay, that's fine. They're lucky to even be alive. They're lucky we haven't thrown them in jail. They're lucky they have a place to go. Well, fuck you. Fuck you on your feelings on that. So this is what is going to be getting dealt with over the next few months. Is different places like this that are along the country, in the world. Patrick, who and his partner as well on the Wagon podcast, we're going to be working together very closely, collaborating on this. And he was telling me about a group called Synanon, which started in California. They're now debunked, but there's still some people saying that are now not debunked, but they're no longer a group, that there's still some that follow in the footsteps of this. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to start investigating over these next 3 to 6 months, spending a lot of time getting together for brainstorming sessions, doing our own individual podcasts on our shows to just kind of give updates of where we're at and some of the info that we have. Eventually working together and doing our own podcast together through Zoom to talk about some of this. Who knows, as this COVID thing goes, I might go down and visit Patrick and sit down with him on his show and her show and be able to be with them live and in person to have these discussions, wearing masks, of course. My goal with this is to be able to expose these places for what they truly are. And as time goes on, my plan for next year, Isaac, my sponsor, knows people, and he's also very involved dealing with doing movies and films. I would like to, at some point next year in the summer into the fall, of doing some kind of documentary, a film documentary, and one of those things would be for me to go to Arkansas with a film crew, and I'm going to expose this camp. This Christian camp is called John 3:16. I'm going to expose them. Brian Tuggle is the founder, and I'm going to show them for what they are. And I guarantee you, with the video footage and things of that nature, you will see what they are about and that there is something fishy going on in that place. I know. I lived there. You know, the biggest thing that I want to say this at the end is I was there as a gay man, and I knew I was. There's a lot of them there that are gay. They're not all straight there. and these guys, Brian Tuggle and you know, these people that are in charge, they think that they know, they have their finger on the program, they have their finger on the pulse of what's going on there. Guarantee you right now, there's many gay men that are in that program tonight, right now, in this moment, including staff. It's amazing the lies that we try to tell. It's amazing the things that we do to try to make ourselves feel okay. And I'm going to expose them for what they are. So that's what's going to be coming up over the next few months as well. I'm going to be doing another podcast here probably tomorrow. That one I don't know exactly just yet what direction I'm going to go into. I was thinking about going into John 3:16, but I kind of already talked about them a little bit today, enough to at least whet your appetite for the next one I have after doing some research with Patrick. So yeah, things are going to be moving over these next few months. Coming up here at the end of the month, I'll be looking at moving into the new sober living home to house manage. And making that transition. So lots of good things are happening. Parents are coming up at the end of December for Christmas to spend some time. Might do a couple podcasting episodes with them about neutral, not religious topics, but just being able to sit down and discuss with them certain other topics that they want to talk about and keep it neutral. Outside of that, I hope everyone out there is doing well. I hope you're dealing with the COVID as well as you can. If you do have it right now, speedy recovery to you. I hope everyone is getting ready for Thanksgiving. It's right around the corner. I hope you have ways that you're going to be spending it with your family and enjoying and being thankful for the time that you have with them. I don't get to see my family. I'll probably be working. No, I know I will be working that morning. So... you know, I'm going to miss not seeing my family. I'm sure I'll talk with them through Zoom and stuff and see how they're doing. But I am looking forward to seeing them at Christmas time. So be safe out there. Wear your masks. Wear your damn masks. And do the best you can. You know, like I said, any of you in recovery with the 4-step, do the best you can to get through it. Don't be fearful of it. Realize it's going to free you of the burdens of the baggage that you have. I'm not expecting you to drop all the baggage, but it's like someone walking up a mountain with rocks in their hands. Drop a rock or two. The journey up that mountain might be a little bit easier for you if you're not carrying all that weight. Right? All right, everybody. My normal line is, it's, I'm not right or I'm wrong. It's just my perspective. And be safe out there. Peace.
The services are no longer required. Thank you for listening to the Recovery Atheist podcast. It's now up to you. What will you do with what you've heard? How will you use it? I challenge you not to stay silent. Be heard. Be real. Be different.